What's going on, guys? Take a look at this beautiful sight right here in front of me. It's been years since the Yamaha Tenere 700 has had a model sitting on the showroom floor. And today, there are 4 Yamaha Teneres sitting here on the floor, a couple new and 4 used. But what I'm super excited about is I walked in and saw this Honda Transalp 750 sitting over here in the Honda section. Now, I find that pretty interesting. I mean, the amount of people that had deposits down on these things, and there were people that said they wanted them as soon as they came in. Well, this one here is sitting at Del Llama Motorsports here in Orange County. So if you're looking for one of these, this is where you can come and get it. Right now, I'm most interested to answer the question that I've had so many times in any of the conversations about this bike or about the T7, or when this bike was rumored to be coming. People were not buying a T7 because this bike was on the way. Now, what I want to do today is sit on both of these machines and give you my quick first impression of how each of these bikes feel differently one from the other. Now, I've been asked several times since the Transalp was released which one of these motorcycles I would purchase if I was in the market. Now, I think that overall the Transalp is going to be a little bit more street oriented than that of the T7. I think the T7 does a little bit better off-road than most other motorcycles in the adventure space. It's definitely the easiest to ride off-road. Now, where I struggle with the T7 is the fact that when you do get on the highway, that top end or that acceleration to the top end is a little bit slower than I personally would like. So on this particular road, I'm 5th gear right now, I am full pinned open. Having come off an 1190 with 150 horsepower, that less than 70 horsepower is a little bit problematic, if you will, for the type of riding that I like to do. Now, this Honda 750 coming in, I think right around 85 horsepower was what I've read online. 85 horsepower, and if the weight is about the same, it's an extra 10 horses, so I just don't know that out. I haven't ridden anything with this exact motor previously, so I don't know how that motor's going to handle, the characteristics that motor's going to have. I mean, if it's the difference between my 390 Duke and the 390 Adventure, those motors are identical, but those bikes feel so different the way that they actually put that power down to the ground. So right now, let's jump on. I've been on the T7 lots of times. I got lots of videos about the T7 on the channel. If you want to see my first ride impressions of the T7, please go take a look at the link right there above. If you want to take a look at the Dunlop Rally Raid tire on the T7, I've got an awesome video showing just what the T7 does. And if you want to see how to pick up a T7, well, that's up there as well. Let's get on the T7 real quick. Now, the biggest thing that people complain about when they're on the T7 is the fact that it feels top heavy. That is the biggest complaint that people have when they get on. I haven't actually noticed that, but coming off larger motorcycles, the T7 just feels light. So sitting in the cockpit looking at the screen, we have a vertical phone style screen, if you will. Dirt style handlebars, hand grips are very dirt oriented. Mirrors are street oriented. Let's see, the windscreen's gonna hit me right here in the middle of the chest. So we'll compare that against the Transalp over there. Windscreen attachment looks very similar. We've got 4 bolts here on the front of the T7, same thing over there on the Transalp. I'm gonna rock this back and forth real quick. I mean, suspension on the T7 is a bit soft for some people. I know that when I had it out doing my tire testing and my first ride of it, I did bottom the suspension out several times in some of the harder off-road terrain that I was on. So on the T7, you can see that I'm tippy-toeing on either side. That's another complaint that people have about the T7 is the fact that it's a bit tall. And then once it gets over to, I don't know, say about there, it often falls over on people, which is a problem that's out there in all of the forums and the communities for the people that ride T7s. They lower them a little bit so they can get a better foothold on the ground. Again, like I said, that weight being up high here on the T7, once you get over to a certain point, it's just gonna fall to the ground. Let's see, as far as leg positioning goes, I've got a nice leg position right here, a little bit downward angled. If I were riding this bike long distance, I might want to be up just a little bit. As far as my overall seating position goes, hands are right down, but the T7 is a super comfortable machine. I've cruised it for, I don't know, 1,500 miles in a weekend, and it was amazing. So there we go. That's the other thing I wanted to feel is I wanted to feel the width of the seat here in the front. So the width of the seat, it comes in pretty narrow here at the front. The overall cockpit, the T7 is a sleek motorcycle. That's one thing I really like about this machine. Tall and skinny. I love it. Now moving on over to the Honda Transalp 750. First thing I'm going to say is sitting on the seat, it is a wider seat pan profile. Definitely feel that. The tank is a little bit wider here in the front, actually quite a bit wider right here on the front. Reminds me more of like that F800 GS shape here in the front. Our phone screen, almost identical to the size of screen you have between the T7 and the Transalp, but instead of being vertical, it is horizontal. It looks like there was a spot that you could put a 12-volt adapter. T7 has one built in. This one does not have one there currently. Now the bars here on the Transalp seem a little bit flatter, if you will. They're not quite as dirt bike-ish, and they're rotated towards me a little bit. If I were gonna take this bike home, I would actually loosen the top clamp here, the risers, and rotate these bars upwards just a little bit. Now I'm gonna be curious to see if these controls can be rotated down or if they have notched holes like a lot of other Honda motorcycles that keep the switch controls from being able to be moved without drilling additional holes in the handlebar. Gas tank is a nice height. It does feel like this bike is less top heavy than that of the T7, but I don't know how much fuel is in either of these machines. Now as far as height goes, I was a little bit more tippy-toed on the T7. I'm on the full balls of my feet here on the Transalp 750. But bringing this bike from side to side, I don't think I'd be able to bring the T7 this far over, be bent knee, flat-footed without the bike actually falling over, because it's that much higher than that of the Transalp 750 that I'm sitting on. Moving the suspension back and forth, suspension feels just a slightly bit softer than that of the T7, and I'm not seeing any adjustments up here on top of the forks to be able to make that change at all. Windshield height is probably a good 2 or 3 inches higher than that of the T7, so you should get just a little bit more wind protection going up and over your head. It's also just a smidge wider, if you will. Putting my feet up into the riding position, you can see that I have not quite that same amount of angle on my knees. So this one is a little bit more of a 90 degree. The pegs in relationship to the seat height are a little bit closer together. Foot pegs feel like they're in a nice, decent position here. Standing off-road, I forgot to test that on the T7. The previous T7s that I've ridden have all had risers on them, so it's more like this position right here. But here on the Transalp, I'd be able to ride this comfortably off-road. Not a problem. A little bit of bend in my arms, a little bit of bend in my knee. Feels pretty good. Yeah, about the same. I feel like I'm pulled a little bit further forward on this motorcycle than I was on the Transalp, but the tank here is a lot skinnier. I feel like my legs are a good 4 to 6 inches closer to the motorcycle when I'm comparing those two. I'm finding that I can get up on the tank nice and easy. It is a little bit wider here, so as I'm leaning forward, I'm having to stand outward a little bit versus being a little bit more in with the bike, if you will, when I'm on the T7. Seat's squishy, a little bit wider, definitely a little bit more street oriented when it comes to the hand grips and the seat and the levers. The levers are definitely very street oriented here from the Honda Transalp. Shifter feels good, brake feels good. Overall, I think this Transalp has been really nicely put together. I really am not a fan of the exhaust running right under the motor like that. Just a lot of lost space when it comes to ground clearance of these motorcycles. Overall aesthetics, this thing is absolutely beautiful. I do see that the radiator vents right here, so I'm curious to see if that hot air is going to be blowing on our knees and our legs while it's cooling off the motor. The brakes look really nice, the wheels look nice. We're running the Metzler Carew Street tires. Looks like the foot pegs have rubber inserts that can come out easily with just a bolt. That's a nice feature, like that a lot. Here in the cockpit, we have our ABS on and off button here. We've got our USB port, which is great. What do we have over here? It's a single USB port. The key of the ignition here goes all the way to the top. I forgot to take a look and see what that looked like over on the Transalp. The fuel cap is up on top of the gas tank, and it actually removes from the bike in order to fill it. That's kind of a pain in the ass. It's like, what do you do with that thing once you get it off when you're at the gas station? All right, the ignition's in the same spot on the Transalp that it is on the T7. Just kind of up there in the front. It looks a little bit more finished here on the Transalp. And of course, the gas cap is integrated into the tank. It sits nice and flat. I really do like that feature. Makes it nice for putting tank bags and things of that nature. Up here on the tank, and it looks like this gas cap opens towards the rider, which I think is really weird. I don't know why they don't have them fold away from the rider. I've always had that as a pet peeve on some motorcycles. Overall user controls up here on the handlebars, they look nice. They look like they will be easy to get to, easy to function. Everything kind of looks like it's in place, if you will. Anyhow, that's it. I can't wait to be able to have an opportunity to get out there on this motorcycle so I can give you a detailed comparison of how these motorcycles feel when you're out there on the road. This one here is not available for me to do that with at the moment, but hopefully here in the near future, I'll be able to get that opportunity. There you have it, guys. That's how I feel when I sit on the T7 and the new Honda Transalp 750. If you have any questions about either of these bikes, please leave a comment down below. And if you are here in the Southern California area or anywhere in California and you want to purchase this motorcycle, make sure you get down to Del Llama OC and tell them that I sent you. Hopefully they give you a free t-shirt or something like that when you purchase the bike as a thank you for coming down after watching this video. Anyway, I'm Kyle Bradshaw. Thank you guys for watching. There's a shit ton of links down below. We got a Rocky Mountain affiliate, an Amazon affiliate. Those definitely help. Thank you guys who purchase there regularly and click that link before you go do so. I get a little bit of a kickback from each of those companies, so thank you very much. Again, Nelson Rig. If you want any Nelson Rig gear, use my coupon code manybikes20, and that will get you 20% off any Nelson Rig products at nelsonrig.com. And that's what I have for you today. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. And if you need Motoz tires, Mitas tires, Seal Savers, or WildAss air cushions, I can handle that for you at manybikes.biz. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, take care and ride safe out there.